was the best questions. That was the best questions I've ever been asked.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Thank you.
This is a Blaring Out with Eric Blair show, and today we have the legend, the myth, the icon, Pauline Black of the Selecter on the show. How cathartic was it for you to write your 2011 autobiography, Black by Design?
I don't really think that autobiographies ought to be a cathartic experience. I think they should be a truthful experience. Cathartic, that just makes me think of, I don't know, laxative, really. And I didn't really want my writing to be kind of thought of in such a way. So it was good because, I mean, if you're a person who's quite disciplined, which I am, I admit to that, not quite OCD, but nearly, the thing that I liked most was researching, because you can't really rely on memory. You have a memory of certain things, but then you go away and you research it, and that throws up other things, and you think, oh, well, of course, yes, I mean, I know that happened, but this happened as well, and then you begin to inch this path through your life, and that's actually interesting. And out of that comes a theme. And it's not, you've done an awful lot of writing really before you get to what you're really trying to say. And I think that when you write anything, it's more in all the stuff that gets thrown away than in what you actually write. And you just got to be really brave, and sort of trust your editor. If your editor comes along and says, look, that's just a load of old rubbish, isn't it, really? You could do better than that. And then you go back and you reappraise it, and it hurts, but you come out and then you have something which is better. And I enjoyed that whole process, I have to say.
Do you think that people get what they deserve when they treat other people like crap?
I'm not a religious person. Mm-hmm. I'd like to get that out of the way. I'm not a Buddhist either, or any of those kind of ancillary religions to whatever the dominant kind of Judeo-Christian thing is. But if I was going to believe anything, I believe there is some kind of substance to karma. I believe there is an energy between people. We may not know what it is, and maybe it isn't that at all, and maybe that's what we call spiritual or spirit or whatever. But I mean, those are things that I think as a performer you do tap into in some kind of weird metaphysical way. And I would like to think that people get their just desserts. I know that people do not get their just desserts quite often. And, there are all kinds of things that happen in the world, and you think, how can there be a God? How could that possibly happen? Well, things happen. But I do believe this. I believe that all the matter that existed at the Big Bang exists now, just in different forms, and I'm happy with that.
What have you loved the most over the years of singing with Gabs Hendrickson?
We just clicked immediately. As soon as we were on stage, we've always just clicked, and we give each other space on stage. He does his thing, I do my thing, and it's a bit like being the sort of Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers of ska, really.
What were the highlights of touring with No Doubt in 97?
1997 it was when I toured with No Doubt. And Gwen was adorable because she was so young then, and very, very sweet, and wore lovely floaty little dresses and everything, and kept running up to me and saying, that I did on my radio, in Anaheim, and that's where we are now, kind of thing, at a talent contest. I didn't win. And I was thinking, well, yeah, maybe you should have chosen a different song then. But it was all very sweet, and I thought she was lovely, and it was very, very nice to invite us onto the tour. And I think the thing that made me the most happy was it was the same year that I discovered my mum, my birth mother, and discovered the fact that I had siblings. And I had a half brother who, at the same time as I was beginning with the Selecter, He was playing bass in a band in Australia called the Kelpies, and another one called Soggy Porridge, I think it was. And so we suddenly had just met, and we were kindred spirits, and he'd come over to Britain to stay with us. And I said, look, we're going to go over to the States because they've invited us to do some dates. Do you would just want to come over and sort of do a bit of roadieing and sort of, and he was just so knocked out that he had discovered this sister, and not only that, she was going to go out on tour with No Doubt. It was like, it was all his Christmases had come at once. So yeah, that was amazing, and I managed to do that for my brother because he would only stay alive for another 10 years after that. So it was a very short period of time that we knew each other, but yeah, that's very, very fond memories.
Why did you cover Amy Winehouse's Back to Black on the Made in Britain album in 2011, and did you know Amy?
I didn't know Amy personally. I knew somebody who was a mother of a daughter who knew Amy. And so I'd heard about Amy from quite a few years, but I don't live in London, and they lived in London, so I didn't see them. But anyway, this person came up to Coventry, where I live, and said, do you want to go along and see this girl, because she's going to be the next big thing. And I said, oh, okay, So I went along, not expecting very much, and turned up at this art centre, and the place was absolutely packed. And onto the stage came this little thin waif of a child, really, in a little green dress, and it was really short, and she kept rubbing the dress. But then she just burst into song, and it was just like immediately she just had the whole of the audience in the palm of her hand. And I hadn't seen a talent as extraordinary as that in most of the years I'd ever been alive, if ever. And she did, and how on earth they managed to destroy that, I don't know, but that was just so sad. And I knew she wasn't well, and we were looking for a cover to do, and it just kind of fetched up as, yeah, I thought, well, we'll try that. We can do something different with that. And we did. And we were going to put it out as a single, and we had some great artwork for it, which was done by the guy who'd done all the two-tone stuff, John Sims, for us. And on the day that it came out, she died. I blame her father, who puts their daughter, sends their daughter away to get better to the Caribbean, to have, a very long holiday, an extended holiday, and all of those kind of things, and then brings a camera crew out and she doesn't know. That's reprehensible.
What is next for Pauline Black and the Selecter?
In 2019 is our 40th anniversary. And we will be touring extensively in the second half of next year, from the festival season onward. We will be taking in everything that we've done, really, within that 40 years, and we will, try and give as memorable a show, put together as memorable a show as we can. We like to put together things, that kind of take the songs and sort of move them in an arc from sort of serious to kind of, more light-hearted, I suppose, more fun. And I'm a great believer in sort of fashioning sets in that way. So that's what we will be doing, basically. And maybe a new album.
Jerry Dammers, genius or a lunatic?
Jerry is Jerry.
Thank you so much, Pauline.
That was the best questions. That was the best questions I've ever been asked.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Thank you.
This is the Blaring Out with Eric Blair show with Pauline Black of the Selecter signing off.
Go, Eric.
The Blaring Out Show.